Morning, church. Pastor Chris here with you. Today we're on day 6, Matthew chapter 6 of 28 days of prayer, fasting, studying through the Gospel of Matthew in preparation for the spring feast. Yesterday we talked about how Yeshua went up on the mountain similar to Moses and started what was the greatest Torah teaching ever, known as the Sermon on the Mount. Today, diving into chapter 6, we see Jesus continues that very teaching. Continues to differentiate between the teachings of the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the cultural norms of that day, and setting up what he considered to be his yoke, his teaching. You've heard it said this, but I now tell you this. In doing so, he also upped the standard that was considered under the Mosaic covenant to be not necessarily just physical, but predominantly physical in the reaction or the actions of individuals. He then says, by taking out certain things that he wants to address, it's not just the physical. It's not just that you would act or be abstinent from the act of whatever this is, but to even think on this is to be in transgression of that. He brings the bar up. He raises the standard for what it means to be a follower of Christ. In doing so, he also shatters the normal of what was considered to be the status of that first century. In doing so, he says, give to the needy. That's what the Lord declares to be righteousness. So while we're trying to take for ourselves, we need to get this. We need to obtain the things that we have. He says, give to those who are less fortunate. Put the needs of the less fortunate ahead of yours that God provided for you. Everything we have around us right now, the camera I'm speaking into, the cell phone or the tablet or the computer you're watching on, everything we have is God's. It is a testimony of the creation, and the Creator owns all of the creation. And so he's the one who has given us that. He's afforded us that opportunity. And he's saying to put the needs of other people in front of us, in front of our own, that if we worry about them and we take care of them and we do right by them, God will do the same thing for us. He then institutes and gives the pattern of one of the most famous prayers, well-known prayers that's out there. We call it the Lord's Prayer, not only in what he says, but the structure by which he says to approach the Lord in the time of prayer. He then goes on to teach about fasting, about working for future rewards. And sometimes that means we have to afflict ourselves in this life so that we're not obtaining the rewards of this life at the expense of the rewards that can only be given by him, which is eternal life. They're things that can't be taken away. Then he also goes on to teach how not to be anxious, how to not walk in anxiety every day. This is something that plagues the American culture so bad right now in the 21st century. People are anxious. They're walking in anxiety. It's leading to depression, mental health, all these things. And he says, why worry? Why walk that way? Did I not take care of the forefathers? Do I not take care of you? If you walk in me and I am your sustenance and I am your provision, then I'm the one who will provide for you. So why would you be anxious? I've never lost a battle. I've never not shown up. Trust in me, put your faith in me, and you will be rewarded. He then goes on to continue to speak on different topics with authority so that everyone who could hear could walk in a manner that would lead to life. So today's challenge is anxiety is crippling. It's all over today's society. It seems like everyone has something that they're anxious about or worried about. Yet we see in this chapter that God came and teaches so that we can walk in faith and in hope. That's not a New Testament concept. Faith and in salvation by faith was given to Abram before his name was changed to Abraham. It's throughout the entire Bible. And yet sometimes we forget, we walk in anxiety and we forget that by having faith that God's going to do what he said he's going to do, that's where we can have our hope. That's where we can be made whole. Maybe it's a bill you have. Maybe it's a relationship you have. Maybe it's an upcoming meeting you have that you're trying to control, you're trying to direct. God says, I'm sufficient for all things. Put your faith and hope in me, and I will provide those things for you. Our prayer point for today comes from Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, and it encourages us and reminds us to seek God in everything we do. Seek him first. Ask him first. Trust in him first before we put our hands, our mind, our tangible elements in practice. Seek him first and allow him to be the provider of knowledge and understanding in how we should move and what we should do. If you're new today watching this devotional, check out the link below. You can comment, like, share. The Bible app is, reading plan is there. Our worship song for today is there. Our prayer point is there. Guys, chapter 6, day 6. I love you. Let's keep going. 28 days till Passover, fasting, prayer, and worship to become one unified in our Messiah, Yeshua. Love you. See you tomorrow.